After a 5-year romantic relationship with my fiancé Ethan, on our wedding day, his sister appeared in a pink wedding dress and stated, "I am in the terminal stage of cancer and wish only to wear a wedding dress once at my brother's wedding. You wouldn't object, would you, sister?" I initially assumed my fiancé Ethan would object, but his immediate response was, "Tina is ill, allowing her to take your place in the wedding is equivalent." A single statement rendered my 5 years of youth a mockery and transformed me into a subject of ridicule among high society. This time, I resolved to abandon all hope, choosing to release myself from further compromise. On a clear and pleasant day, the wedding celebration of the Nan and Fu families drew together all the prominent figures of each city. Clad in my wedding dress, I proceeded slowly forward, while simultaneously, a girl in a pink wedding dress emerged from the opposite side, advancing toward Ethan in step with me. I recognized her instantly as none other than Ethan's sister, Tina, the adopted daughter of the Fu family. Stunned, I was uncertain of her intentions as we both reached Ethan concurrently, and he regarded Tina with a furrowed brow. Tina glanced at me with red, swollen eyes and, weeping, said, "Brother, the doctor has given me only 1 month to live. Witnessing your marriage to sister fills me with envy, as I may never have the chance to wear a wedding dress in my lifetime. Brother, today I wish to don a wedding dress at your wedding." As her words concluded, realization dawned upon me. Tina's motives were transparent to any perceptive observer. What did she mean by wearing a wedding dress at our wedding? I was aware of Tina's affection for Ethan and had long known it, yet I never anticipated she would create such a spectacle on my wedding day. Ethan's parents, initially shocked, promptly ascended the stage to remove her. Tina, however, wept and declared, "Mom, Dad, I too desire such a grand wedding." I was fully cognizant of our wedding's magnificence, having meticulously orchestrated every detail, as the Fu and Nan families ranked among H city's most eminent dynasties. Tina timidly positioned herself behind Ethan, who extended his arm to shield her. In that instant, my heart felt as though pierced by countless sharp objects, resulting in intense, pervasive pain. Tina directed a piteous gaze toward me and said, "Sister, you wouldn't mind, would you? I merely wish to wear a wedding dress at your wedding, with no ulterior motives. Please treat me as your bridesmaid, all right?" Before I could respond, my bridesmaid Bella strode forward, pointed at Tina, and berated her loudly, "Are you deranged? Today is your brother's and my best friend's wedding. Why are you on stage in a wedding dress? Have you no shame?" Tina, overwhelmed by Bella's reprimand, burst into tears and retreated behind Ethan in apparent distress. Bella, visibly incensed, grasped my hand. I understood her intent was to console me, and though she is typically boisterous, I knew her actions were motivated by my well-being. In our childhood, Bella once forcefully pushed me aside, causing me pain, and as I prepared to complain, she collapsed. It transpired that a snake was present, and had Bella not intervened, I would have been the one bitten. Tina gazed at me again, pleading, "Sister, please don't be upset, all right? I wore a wedding dress today, and though I couldn't exchange rings with brother like a bride, I am deeply satisfied and will harbor no regrets even in death." Upon hearing this, Ethan's brow furrowed as he interjected, "Tina, don't speak nonsense." Tina, however, managed a faint smile and replied, "Brother, you needn't console me. I am aware of my impending death, terminal cancer, with a prognosis of merely 1 month, as per my physician." I interjected, "Tina, leave my wedding immediately." My words appeared to strike her profoundly, causing her to stagger backward as if to collapse, only for Ethan to catch her. He rebuked me sharply, "Tina is frail, mind your tone." It felt as though a dagger pierced my heart. I had long known of Ethan's favoritism, yet on this, our wedding day, he continued to align with Tina, who was intended to share his future life. Ethan's subsequent statement extinguished all my remaining hope. "Tina is sick, letting her take your place in the wedding is equivalent." Bella, enraged, was poised to unleash another tirade, but I restrained her, my eyes brimming with disillusionment. I inquired, "Ethan, are you aware of what day this is?" He responded nonchalantly, "Yes, it's just a wedding. If you feel slighted, we can hold another later." The phrase "hold another" plunged my heart into despair. "Ethan, oh Ethan. Are you so presumptuous as to believe my love for you is boundless and inexhaustible? I, too, am human, capable of pain. Do you comprehend this?" Ethan, what if I refuse? How absurd today is my wedding, yet I find myself the one compelled to yield. Observing this, Tina rose unsteadily from Ethan's embrace, approached me, and bowed deeply. I'm sorry, sister, I was too willful. Please forgive me, won't you? I maintained an impassive expression and remained silent. Seeing my lack of response, Tina hesitated to raise her head. Ethan pulled her upright and regarded me with displeasure. Selena, what do you want? Tina only wishes to wear a wedding dress and participate briefly. Don't be excessive. I could no longer endure it and erupted. Excessive? In what way am I excessive? Ethan, today is our wedding, and she is adorned more elaborately than I, the bride clearly positioning herself as the other woman. Do you understand? Your sister Tina harbors impure intentions. Tina and Ethan stared at me in astonishment. No one anticipated that I, typically compliant, would unleash such an outburst. After all, I had been entirely devoted to Ethan. Over 5 years of romance with Ethan, I was universally condemned as shameless, persistently clinging to him and coercing him into accepting my confession. Today's wedding was merely my personal perception, an imagined progression from schoolyard sweethearts to matrimony. This marathon of love spanned 8 years, sparked by my love at first sight for Ethan 8 years prior, a sentiment that was, in truth, unilateral. To attend the same university as him, I exerted myself relentlessly, resulting in 3 hospitalizations due to exhaustion, all to be at Ethan's institution. My efforts bore fruit when, in my freshman year, I won over Ethan, the aloof campus idol. Yet these past 5 years have been marked solely by my sacrifices. Whether I suffered from fever, injury, or even a car accident, none compared to Tina's simple utterance, "Brother, I'm unwell." For her mere mention of a headache, he could abandon me alone on a snow-laden street to fend for myself with a taxi. As Tina disliked spicy food, I adhered to a bland diet alongside them for 5 years. When Tina remarked she admired the necklace around my neck, Ethan demanded I relinquish it to her, and any further protest elicited his accusations of immaturity and pettiness, asserting that Tina was merely his sister and we would all be family in time. Even on the day of my wedding dress fitting, Ethan failed to appear, leaving me alone at the bridal shop. I vividly recall grasping his hand and pleading, "After the fitting, I'll accompany you to the hospital, all right? Just 1 hour, it won't take long." Yet all I received was Ethan's retort, "Tina has a headache, be reasonable." Through countless such experiences, I failed to notice that my love for Ethan had entirely dissipated. Each time Tina expressed discomfort, Ethan would invariably depart my side without exception, as occurred today, my wedding day. Yet, because Tina purportedly had terminal cancer, he proposed she replace me to complete the wedding. This is my wedding. Does not every woman aspire to a singular matrimonial ceremony in her lifetime? Ethan, with a darkened countenance, shielded Tina behind him and bellowed at me, "Retract your words and apologize to Tina, Selena now." Tina sobbed, her body trembling, "So this is how sister has always perceived me. It's my fault for causing your misunderstanding, sister. From today, I'll depart the Fu family. Brother, release me. Let me fend for myself." I sneered and stepped back twice. "Tina, what are you pretending? Dare you deny your affection for Ethan? Is it shameful to covet a brother unrelated by blood?" With a resounding slap, I scarcely anticipated that Ethan would strike me. That single blow utterly demolished my delusion that Ethan reciprocated my love. Ethan stared at his palm in disbelief, a flicker of panic in his eyes, and stepped forward to inspect me. I covered my face, retreated 2 steps, my gaze harboring only profound resentment toward him. Perhaps alarmed by this animosity, Ethan apologized repeatedly. "I'm sorry, I didn't intend to hit you, Selena, I'm sorry." My father moved to intervene, but I raised my hand to halt him. A gleam of triumph flashed in Tina's eyes as she hurriedly seized my hand. "Sister, are you all right? Don't blame brother. He was angered because you suggested we had a relationship. He loves you." I abruptly flung her hand away, and with a cry, Tina fell to the ground. Ethan swiftly bent to lift her, inquiring, "Tina, are you okay? Where does it hurt?" "Brother, don't blame sister. Explain to her quickly that we share only sibling affection," Tina urged. Ethan looked up at me, his eyes a mix of fury and guilt. That slap awakened me. Fully over 5 years, I had been a jest, an immense farce, likely the only bride publicly struck by her groom on her wedding day. Ethan's parents rushed forward, their immediate concern directed toward Tina. I knew she was their cherished darling, while they consistently disdained me, solely because I had tenaciously pursued Ethan. In their view, I was a woman who demeaned herself, disregarding my status as the Nan family's eldest daughter. My lack of dignity and temper in pleasing them led them to overlook this identity, presuming my love for their son was boundless unto death. My father, having only me as his daughter, cherished me profoundly since my mother's death when I was 15, unwilling to see me shed a tear. For 5 years, I trailed Ethan, serving tea and preparing meals. My father observed this with anguish, seeing my plump father below the stage, fists clenched and eyes reddened. I realized the egregious error of my past 5 years. Selena, what are you doing? You know Tina's health is poor, why did you push her? Ethan's mother, whom I had assiduously courted, feigned gentleness while being inherently opportunistic. I regarded them coldly. Her ill health is irrelevant to me, everyone. Observe, today is my wedding, yet Tina, the Fu family's adopted daughter, dons a wedding dress aspiring to wed her brother. What dignity does such a woman possess? The scene erupted in uproar, Tina clenching her fists tightly, unprepared for my public censure. She rose, weeping, and explained, "No, it's not like that. I only wanted to wear a wedding dress. Sister, don't misunderstand." Ethan frowned and scolded, "Silence, Selena, if you still wish to marry, apologize to Tina at once." Ethan's mother chimed in, "A woman like you wishes to marry my son? Kneel and apologize to my daughter immediately, or this wedding will not proceed." Ethan tugged at her, signaling restraint. Tina wiped her tears, lamenting pitifully, "It's all my fault, I'll leave now. Dying alone is the best outcome." I retorted, "Then die, your death concerns me not. Want a wedding dress? Are bridal shops mere decorations?" Tina's face paled, and the audience below began murmuring, "Indeed, why not wear a dress at a bridal shop? Coming to someone else's wedding suggests she aims to be the other woman." "Yes, disrupting another's wedding." No, it's not like that, brother, it's not," Tina protested, grasping Ethan's hand. Ethan gazed at Selena's swollen face, guilt intensifying within him, though her misunderstanding of his relationship with Tina was utterly unjustifiable. They were family. I stared coldly at the man before me, whom I had loved for 5 years, yet now I could muster no affection for him. Ethan seized my wrist, "Stop this fuss, Tina only wants to wear a wedding dress. After all these years together, whether we hold the wedding or not is irrelevant. Let her take your place, it's the same." I wrenched my hand free and delivered a fierce slap across his face. "Ah! Brother! Son!" Tina and his mother rushed forward, inspecting their precious son's face, but Ethan shook his head. "I struck you unintentionally earlier, so your retaliation is warranted. Selena, you've always been sensible. Tina has but this one wish, and she may not have long." I offered a faint smile and waved dismissively, "All right." Seeing my consent, Ethan exhaled in relief, fearing my refusal would leave Tina with regrets. Now that I agreed, all was well. "Today, I declare that I, Selena, have no connection with Ethan. I will not proceed with this marriage. Whether Ethan chooses to wed his sister or another, it is of no concern to me. I am canceling the engagement." My words struck like a hammer, eliciting a clamor from the crowd. Bella enthusiastically gave me a thumbs up, and I smiled with relief. Ethan grabbed my hand. "Selena, what are you doing? Tina has only 1 month left, can't you yield to her?" I shook off his filthy hand, my eyes devoid of emotion, and declared, "Yield to her? What is she that I, Selena, should grant her any regard? Ethan, we are finished henceforth, we have no ties." Tina glared at me intensely, biting her lip, her face ashen. My father stepped forward to shield me, addressing them icily, "You should have heard my daughter's words clearly." Ethan frowned menacingly, "Don't regret this, Selena." I raised my hand skyward and swore, "I, Selena, vow to the heavens, I harbor no regrets and will never again entangle myself with Ethan in the slightest." Ethan exclaimed, "You! Selena, there's a limit to this nonsense." Tina interjected, "It's all my fault, sister, don't be angry. I didn't intend to ruin your wedding. I'll leave at once, I'll leave now." I distinctly noted the triumph in Tina's eyes. My dowry of 1 billion, I reclaim it all. Father, send people to retrieve my belongings. Henceforth, the Nan and Fu family shall have no collaboration. Upon hearing this, the Fu couple's faces blanched instantly. Both families were affluent dynasties, not lacking funds, but the Nan family had only Selena as its daughter. Would not all eventually belong to the Fu family? Selena, today was merely a misunderstanding. Tina is young and naive, Ethan's mother began, only to be cut off by my father. My daughter is a year younger than your Tina. She merely enjoys the festivity of weddings, jesting about holding one for amusement. She's the immature one, so please don't take offense. Ethan's mother's expression soured dramatically. Tina, I hope you would your brother soon know. You may hold the wedding today, the guests are present, so don't squander this ambience. Continue the music, enjoy the feast and festivities. I, Selena, wish you a century of harmony. With that, I lifted my wedding dress and exited the wedding hall step by step. Ethan attempted to pursue me, but Tina collapsed into his arms, a familiar ploy I had grown accustomed to. Daughter, Dad will surely find you the most handsome suitor anew, my father assured. My father, now portly and appearing kind and approachable, was not so before my mother's passing. He was once tall and handsome, but after her departure, he resorted to heavy drinking and overeating, staying home to care for me, gradually developing a beer belly, a rounded face, and losing all his hair. I embraced him, tears streaming down. Dad, I want only you. From now on, I need no one else. I wish to remain by your side forever. Daughter, my dear daughter, he replied. Tina was promptly transported to the hospital and soon awoke, clutching Ethan's hand. Brother, you must clarify this with sister. I didn't mean it that way. I don't wish to ruin your relationship because of me. Ethan nodded, tenderly stroking her head, and consoled, Selena is just upset with me. Don't worry, in a few days, we'll hold another wedding. Rest well, I'll step out briefly. Tina watched his retreating figure, clenching her fists, her eyes brimming with reluctance and hatred. Selena, today you humiliated me. I will not let this pass. You wait and see. Ethan made several calls, all to disconnected numbers, and found his Facebook messages blocked. Frowning helplessly, seated, his mother anxiously tugged at him. Is that girl Selena truly ending things with you? Can she bear to? Mom, stop meddling. What were you babbling about today with that kneeling nonsense? Selena is the Nan family's eldest daughter. Aren't you slapping the Nan family in the face? Chastised by her son, his mother's face paled instantly, and she fell silent. Ethan resolved to apologize to Selena the following day, confident that, as before, a sincere demeanor would secure her forgiveness. Tina messaged Selena, Sister, please don't misunderstand, brother and I are not what you think. Selena replied, If you're capable, make Ethan marry you, if not, spare me your pretense, Mississippi. Tina, alarmed, dropped her phone, sensing Selena's unfamiliarity for the first time. Brother. Tina had intended to provoke Selena, only to be met with a threat, fueling her anger. She frantically called for Ethan, who entered to find Tina curled up in fear. What's wrong, Tina? Are you unwell? Tina clung to him tightly. Brother, I'm so scared. I only wanted to clarify things with sister, but she said. Ethan picked up the phone, revealing her exchange with Selena. The line, make Ethan marry you if you can, jolted him. The usual Selena would never utter such provoked words. Evidently, she was genuinely incensed this time. Don't fear, I won't let anyone harm you, he assured. She responded. The next day, Ethan arrived at the Nan residence but couldn't even enter the gate. Miss, he's still waiting. Shall we expel him? A guard inquired. Observing Ethan's disheveled state at the entrance, I waved dismissively with a smile. Let him stand if he wishes. Henceforth, he is barred from stepping inside. Ethan's parents took turns calling me, all of whom I blocked. I incinerated every memory of Ethan in a blaze, gazing at the roaring flames with an indescribable exhilaration. My father toiled daily, and seeing his weary visage, I resolved to formally join the company to assist him. I also have a cousin there, regarded as the top executive, with some even mistaking her for the boss's dot. This elevated her status and prestige within the company. My abrupt entry startled the staff, and my cousin's smile stiffened momentarily upon seeing me. Previously, when I fancied Ethan, my cousin Denise consistently encouraged me, offering numerous suggestions. In hindsight, she was fostering my romantic obsession. My sudden appointment provoked discontent among many, who believed only Denise was qualified for the role, resulting in overt compliance but covert defiance toward me. My cousin consoled me, "The staff may not be accustomed yet, cousin, why the sudden decision to work?" I flicked my hair confidently, "This vast company is mine, I must learn to manage it." Her face darkened slightly at this, though she concealed it. Despite widespread opposition, I disregarded it, focusing on my career. 5 days later, I secured a substantial contract, unequivocally validating my competence. I possess unwavering confidence in this regard. From childhood, my parents trained me as their successor, even suggesting a husband who would join our family. Reflecting on the past 5 years intensified my sense of humiliation. Presenting my credentials silenced all present doubters. Post-meeting, while in the restroom, I overheard, "Didn't Denise claim she was just a vocational graduate? She's actually a top science and engineering alumna, no wonder she secures so many deals, earning even the boss's praise." Yes. Didn't Denise say she was the boss's daughter? Is she really? Unsure, but she never denied it. These remarks unraveled a lingering puzzle in my mind. It was my cousin all along. I encountered Ethan again at a banquet, 10 days post-wedding fiasco. He appeared markedly haggard, with Tina still delicately by his side. He had sought me out these past days, only to be thwarted by bodyguards, unable to speak with me. This time, he seized the opportunity, rushing to grasp my hand. "Selena, are you still angry? We can hold another wed." I flung his hand away, scoffing, "Ha, another? Ethan, there's no another for us. In 5 years together, you dashed to Tina at every minor issue. Do you still take me for a fool with such a dynamic?" Ethan shook his head. "It's not what you think, Selena. Tina and I are family. Her health has always been frail, as you know. Tell me, what must I do for you to cease your anger?" "Ethan, what audacity, thinking I'm indispensable to you. Do you comprehend breakup?" "Selena, there's a limit to this tantrum. Your persistence annoys me." His brazen words genuinely am. I challenged, "Ethan, tell me, in our 5 years together, what do I enjoy eating? Any dietary restrictions?" He stood dumbfounded, ignorant, seeing my frigid, emotionless gaze. He sensed something slipping irretrievably from his grasp. "Selena, our 5-year bond," he stammered. His speechlessness reinforced my realization that I had squandered 5 years of genuine affection on an unworthy recipient. Tina approached, grasping my hand humbly. "Sister, it's all my fault, don't hold it against brother, please. You two are a match made in heaven." Her words repulsed me. She who disrupted the wedding now feigned we were destined, a hypocritical stance. "Tina, spare me your nauseating act, will you? I've tired of your petty tricks. I, Selena, eldest daughter of the Nan family, lack for nothing. Ethan, I truly disdain, he's yours." With that, I turned toward business partners. Assuming company leadership demands networks, does it not? "Brother, what if sister misunderstands? It's all my doing, my fault, I shouldn't exist." Tina wept, red-eyed, in Ethan's arms. He felt an emptiness within, consoling her it wasn't her fault, while she flashed me a triumphant, taunting smile. My father's investigation bore fruit. I had long doubted Tina's cancer diagnosis, and his findings confirmed it as a ruse, initiated shortly after my engagement to Ethan. The motive was self-evident. "Daughter, need Dad's help?" I shook my head. "No, Dad, we needn't play the villain, let them face the consequences of their actions." She eagerly anticipated the expression on Ethan's face when his oft-praised sister shared his bed. Ethan described Tina as innocent, kind, and sickly. Her intentions, however, were transparent to all but me. Bella had warned me repeatedly, yet I foolishly defended them. How utterly absurd in retrospect. A fine steed does not graze on past pastures. I, Selena, will not look back. I recognize Ethan's feelings for Tina as fraternal, yet she exploited them into favoritism. Let them turn on each other. Now I must focus on my career. I clinched several partnerships, substantiating my prowess, and the company's perception of me gradually shifted. Indeed, strength is the paramount proof of worth. Denise eyed me with resentment, yet I maintained a facade of cordia. Cousin, shall we dine together after work? My initiative surprised Denise, but she acquiesced. Upon seeing my father at the restaurant, her face lit up, and I smirked. After a few bites, I excused myself, aligning with Denise's desires. She dined with my father while coordinating with acquaintances to photograph and post online, exuding closeness in both words and actions. Uninformed observers might genuinely mistake them for father and daughter. En route home, my father asked why I invited Denise. I offered no reply, merely instructing him to watch the unfolding drama. I knew someone like Denise would exhaust all means to convince the company she was the chairman's daughter and future heir. She desperately required such a premise. Why not facilitate it? Some must be elevated high to fall har. As predicted, the next day, the company buzzed with talk of Denise as the chairman's daughter. Her sycophants even served tea, carried bags, and handed tissues. I observed silently, saying nothing. After work, Ethan waited at the entrance, visibly thinner, eyes bloodshot, rushing to me. Selena, stop this, please. I apologize. I sneered, gazing at the man I adored for 5 years. Ethan, do you know? I cherished you for 5 years, prioritizing you. Now I see I was a fool. You're utterly unworthy. You comprehend love not at all. Ethan countered. Selena, I love you. Have you forgotten our 5-year bond? Hearing unworthy, panic flashed in his eyes, as if he'd contributed nothing. Ethan, you and Tina suit each other. Believe it, she'll soon be in your bed. At Tina's name, he frowned. Selena, how often must I repeat? Tina's just my sister. If you're jealous, you're the unreasonable one. I refused further discourse, stating, we're impossible, and departed. Ethan drank alone at a bar, finding my words absurdly laughable. Tina always saw him as a brother, and she was supposedly nearing her end. The more he pondered, the more he deemed Selena irrational. Brother, you're drunk. Let me take you home, Tina offered. He nodded, allowing her support, as she smirked triumphantly. She'd awaited tea. Brother, you're mine, always have been. No one can take you, Tina mused. Miss, Tina has taken him, the bodyguard reported. To my satisfaction. Ethan, I'd show you whether your good sister saw you solely as a BR. Hello, want a scoop? Room 321. The Fu Group's young master with an unknown woman. The next day, Ethan awoke to find Tina beside him, his mind reeling, eyes wide in shock. Why are you in my bed? He roared. Tina stirred slowly, feigning grievance at Ethan's livid face. Brother, last night, you pulled me into bed. Ethan collapsed in disbelief, raging, impossible. Utterly impossible. Tina, it was you climbed into bed, didn't you? Why? We're siblings. Ethan was certain he wouldn't act when drunk, and a responsible driver always took him home. The sole conclusion was that Tina had orchestrated it deliberately. Unable to deflect, Tina gritted her teeth. We share no blood. I'm just the Fu family's adopted daughter. Why can't we be together? Brother, I've always loved you. Ethan was thunderstruck, finally grasping Selena's implication. You. Tina, it's impossible. I see you only as a sister. Tina, eyes red, pressed, why not? We're not kin, brother, it's happened. Let's marry. Ethan stood, disgust deepening in his eyes, surpassed only by his inability to accept Tina's affection. He'd always viewed her as a sister, raised together since childhood. How had it come to this? Opening the door, reporters swarmed. Ethan, can you explain why you're with Tina? Aren't you siblings? At your wedding with Miss Selena, your sister wore a wedding dress. Were you involved earlier? Yes, Ethan, were you just toying with Miss Selena, or eyeing the Nan family's wealth? Ethan's face darkened as he turned to Tina on the bed, startled by his gaze. She shook her head. No, it's not me, brother. I didn't summon them. Her feeble excuse rang hollow to Ethan, who stormed out. Returning home, Ethan's mother slapped Tina, cursing, "Vile woman, wretch, I raised you well, and you harbor such thoughts." Stunned, Tina wept, her frail frame quaking. She never imagined her doting mother would strike her. What are you to dare climb into my son's bed? Good thing you're dying soon, or you'd be an eyesore. The suffocating words left Tina breathless. This harsh, unfamiliar woman bore no resemblance to the gentle Muff. Mom, I don't call me Mom, I'm not your mom, Tina. I was blind to dote on and raise you. Tina saw her true colors, maternal affection paled beside her precious Ethan. She could nurture when pleased, discard when not. Brother and I have been intimate, Mom let us marry, Tina pleaded. Ethan glared fiercely, dream on, Tina, I won't wed you. Selena's images resurfaced in Ethan's mind, vivacious and charming, wronged and sorrowful. Fear gripped him that she'd learn of this and reject him forever. Send her abroad, Ethan, apologize sincerely to the Nan family, we'll replan the wedding, his father decreed. Tina's pupils dilated in disbelief. Abroad? A wry laugh escaped, it meant abandonment. The Fu family's ruthlessness was stark. Indeed, only a clan like the Nan family befits ours. You get out, don't return, even dead, bad luck, they sneered. To them, Tina, a supposed dying figure, posed little consequence. Tina laughed coldly. Cast me aside? Never, brother, I will marry you, I will. Another slap felled Tina. I was blind to bring you home, a base creature aiming high? Dream on, our Fu family's threshold isn't for the likes of you, his mother spat. Ethan, relenting, halted her tirade, ordering Tina's removal. He hadn't fathomed Tina's feelings for him, recalling misunderstandings with Selena. Ethan felt regret and dread, seeking her at the Nan residence, only to be barred. Online rumors escalated, fueled by the Nan family's covert influence. Daughter, the Fu family is vile. Thankfully, you didn't marry in, my father said bitterly. I smiled. Dad, there's more. Believe Ethan will wed Tina? This? My father's silence was anticipated. Tina, after years of scheming, wouldn't relent. She likely had a final, lethal strike. Pregnancy. If pregnant, she'd secure the Fu family's young mistress role, especially since her terminal cancer was fabricated. As expected, a month later, Tina revealed a falsified terminal cancer record from the Fu hospital and a 1-month pregnancy test, thrusting the matter into the spotlight. The Fu family erupted. Online sentiment now held, Ethan slept with his unrelated adopted sister, shirking responsibility by faking Tina's terminal cancer for her abandonment. Tina's pregnancy confirmed the adopted daughter and brother's prior liaison. Her wedding day intentions were evident to all. Poor Miss Nan was toyed with by the Fu family for 5 years. Ethan courted her by day, his sister by night, a tangled mess. Fortunately, Miss Nan avoided marriage, cutting losses timely. As the sole daughter, the Fu family, seeking advantage, now reaped their due. As events unfolded, Fu family enterprises faltered, notably their hospitals, distrusted for potential record falsification. Ethan drowned in drink daily, stunned by Tina's cunning. Only her clarification could salvage the Fu family. Reluctantly, they agreed to marry her in a perfunctory ceremony. The day before the wedding, Ethan sought me at the Nan residence. I agreed to meet, and he was elated, believing redemption posse. As I appeared, Ethan eagerly reached for my hand. I stepped back, evading him, and demanded, "What do you want? Speak." Ethan's tone was meek, eyes pleading. "Selena, don't misunderstand. Tina and I aren't what you think. I love you, truly you." I sneered. "No relation?" "Ethan, she's pregnant. Still no relation?" His face paled, yet he tried to explain. I smiled faintly, pointing behind. "Ethan, your good sister, nay, your good wife has arrived." Turning, Ethan saw Tina, eyes full of loathing. "Why are you here?" Shedding her innocent facade, Tina roared, "Ethan, we're married. I'm your wife. You ask why I'm here. Shouldn't you explain?" He shook off her hand. "I've nothing to explain." Tina fumed, about to target me, when I smiled. "What I discard, only you're fit to claim." Her eyes widened. I whispered, "How's that, Tina? I deserve credit for your happy ending, don't I?" Audible only to us, she st. That day, someone tipped her off about Ethan at the bar. The next day's reporters and online buzz all my doing. I turned to leave, certain Tina wouldn't expose this. Her hard-won position demanded sure. Denise basked in the spotlight lately, presumed by all to be the incognito Nan heiress learning at the company, until my father announced the Nan successor before all City, leaving Denise's face below stage and the company's stares as scalding as a vol. Denise glared at me with venom. I merely smiled faintly, dealing with her required no effort from me. Her flatterers would act. Back at the company, Denise's former glory turned to abject misery. relentlessly targeted by colleagues, her days. Her sycophants, who'd gifted her much, now demanded every item back. Within half a month, Denise resigned. Before departing, I said, "Cousin, what's not yours never will be. Why live so wearily?" She grasped my meaning instantly, glaring hatefully. "It was deliberate." I smiled lightly. "Deliberate?" "I did nothing, just offered her a chance. How one seizes it is their choice." I formally assumed company control, fortifying myself and elevating the Nan family. A year later, I was H-City's renowned top female CEO, synonymous with wealth. The Fu family stagnated. Post-marriage, Ethan's neglect morphed Tina into a shrew, and the child born wasn't as shocking, given her professed love for him, yet the offspring wasn't his. Tina and her child were ousted from the Fu family. I saw her again in a bar, sweeping toilets. I said nothing, departing quietly. Love, seemingly radiant, is but fleeting vapor. Self-love alone is the true path. At a banquet, I saw Ethan with a new companion, reportedly Miss Wang. Not surprising, as the Fu family urgently needed allies to bolster its standing, and the Wang family was optimal. "Selena, had I made Tina leave the wedding, would our outcome differ?" Ethan's tone brimmed with regret. Without turning, I inhaled deeply. "I'm glad you defended Tina then." She hadn't pondered an alternate ending, knowing that path, even pursued, would cast her as another Tina.